All right, guys, promised you another special guest, and always good to have United States Senator Jim Inhofe with us. And first off, Senator, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Oh, Cameron, I always enjoy. I love the people around Southwest Oklahoma, and we spend a lot of time in Altus. In fact, I have a kind of a commitment. We have 5 major military installations, and since I've been ranking member on the Senate Armed Services Committee, I try to get to each one of them, including Altus, at least once a month. So right now we have some good news. I think everyone's aware that we've passed our defense authorization bill, and some things are just generally speaking are really good that will be in there. But one thing we've been waiting on for a long period of time, and that is for our fire station over in Altus. You'd think something like that wouldn't take so long to get done, but it did. And so we have a lot of good things in the bill that we're correcting this problem. I hate to sound partisan when I say this, but during the Obama years, we had 8 years where we had a president who really was not committed to a strong national defense. In fact, the proof of that is that he had a policy that you can't do anything to correct the deficiencies in the military that he had actually personally disarmed without doing the same thing for the social programs. So it is no priority. A lot of people don't realize, Cameron, that as recently as the 60s, over 50% of all the revenue that came in to the United States was used to defend America. That's is actually 52% in 1964. Now, since that time, it's gone down. You know what it is today? It's 15%. Now,
Wow.
There's the big problem. We've gone through the last administration, of course, 8 years of downgrading our military. It's just taken its toll. People don't understand that. We have only a third of our brigade combat teams can actually fight. That's 30%, 33% of them are ready today. Only a fourth of our aviation brigades are ready and can fight. Half of our divisions are ready. 50% are not ready. I mean, this is the type of thing that we've gone through, and it's a very difficult thing to try to deal with. Now in fact, a lot of people remember in the 70s after the Carter administration, they called it the hollow force, and at that time, we were really endangered because of what happened during his administration. And now the military themselves, and normally they don't do this, they admit, and they did back during the last few months of the Obama administration, that we today have a hollow force like we had in the late 1970s. So that's the biggest problem, but it's a problem nobody's aware of. You know, we just look at our 9 carrier wings in the Navy. We just are in a position where we're not ready to defend America. And this happens to be at a time when we face the greatest threat we've ever faced, because we have a country in North Korea that's run by a mentally deranged guy who we now know, as of 2 weeks ago, has a missile that'll reach continental United States and owns warheads that could take out a city. The only thing they say is, well, they can't do it with accuracy now. Look, when you send over an explosive power that is 7 times what it was when we took out we dropped on Hiroshima to end World War II, it doesn't really matter. Wherever it lands is going to inflict a lot of damage. They now have that capability, and now everyone doesn't know it, but and a lot of members of Congress and the House and the Senate won't talk about it because it doesn't sound believable, but it is. So we're in a threatened position. We've got to rebuild a military. We're going to be busy doing that, and Altus is going to make a great contribution.
That's right, and I know that you shared some thoughts on the Senate floor about missile defense, and we just don't have time to be messing around and wasting time on this.
Well, we don't. Time is not our friend. We have to do it, and we have to do it right now. And so we are doing it. It's going to take a deviation from that policy that we had during the Obama years, and say that we can no longer say that everything we spend on military, you have to spend on the social programs at the same time. That's not the way historically it has been. And of course, we at one time were undisputedly the leader of the free world. And we know what happened during the last 8 years. But we also know what happened when Syria used chemical weapons not too long ago. And our new president, President Trump, went over and made it real clear who was the leader of the free world. So I think we're reestablishing ourselves overseas in the eyes of the rest of the world.
And also, you've made comments and the work that's been done on tax reform, and where are we moving forward with that?
Oh, well, it's almost over, Cameron. This is tomorrow, but everything is going to be put out. I say tomorrow it's going to be. I hope that they'll only have a few holdouts in some specific areas. But if you look at it, just the general thing that we're able to get done, the child tax credit, for example. And we doubled the standard deduction. People ask, how is this going to affect Oklahoma? There's a nonpartisan tax foundation that says that Oklahoma is going to get 10,000 new jobs from the Senate tax plan, and it's going to mean about an average of 2,000 additional revenue for our citizens of Oklahoma. Now, that's not me talking. That's a nonpartisan tax foundation. Let's see, where's that list that I used? The other one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then in the other areas, it is looking at the top individual tax rate is going to be lower. The 21% corporate tax is decided on now. They're toying with 20%. It's going to be 21% now. And that reduction is going to be huge. The expensing of businesses for 5 years, the ending the Obamacare individual mandate has a 10 mortgage interest deduction still going to be down there with some limitations. So these things are very similar, and I'd like to share with my friends in the Altus area of what happened. Not many people around are old enough, like I am, to remember what happened during the 1981 and 1986 tax reductions under Reagan, and it was huge. And as a result of that, the increase in revenue came through in flying colors. The problem that we had at that time, that we had a conservative president, but we had a very liberal House and Senate. And so as the increased revenues that came in as a result of reducing rates, they spent the increase. Let me just be specific. And I'm going from memory now, but I know it's right because I've made this in speeches many, many times. The total revenue that came in 1981 was $469 billion. Now, he made the first major cuts. In the top rank, it went down from 90% to the first one went from 70% down to 50%. And yet, and across the board. So with those huge tax reductions, the income that came in increased to $750 billion from $469 billion. I know that's kind of in the weeds, but people have to understand that if we can control this on the spending side, we're going to have, this is going to be coming in with an increase, not a decrease in terms of the deficit. So I feel very good about it because I was there, and we're going to see it happen. It should be on display tomorrow, and we should vote on it by Tuesday.
That's right. And, of course, Senator, folks can always keep up with what's going on there in Washington on your website as well. And tell folks where they can keep up with everything that you're doing on our behalf there in Washington.
Is that inhofe.senate.gov? What? Gov. Okay. I have to ask somebody else. I never email me, so I don't know. Inhofe.senate.gov. Now, Inhofe, INHOFE. Please do that, because we have things on there that we can show you that we are doing that are really helping out. And also, I want to make sure that everyone out there has a very Merry Christmas.
Well, Senator Inhofe, it is always great to visit with you. We appreciate the work that you're doing on our behalf there in Washington, and wish you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year as well.
Thanks so much, Cameron.